find the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life changes when in love, yeah.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is a sewing tutorial of the kimono apron I had on in my previous vlog. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. And if you're new here, welcome, and please subscribe. And let's just get right into this video. These are the materials that will be needed for this tutorial. The first step is to fold your fabric into four because we're cutting the front and the back piece together. I used a total of 1 yard fabric for this tutorial. And now I'm measuring the length of where I want the apron to reach. I want it to be a little bit above my knee, so I used 38 inches plus 2 inches seam allowance, making 40 inches, and I'm marking that as my starting point for the measurement. Here I'm marking my shoulder measurement minus 1 inch because I don't want it to be so wide, and I added 1 inch for seam allowance. Now for the neckline, since the fabric is folded into four, I'll be marking both the front and the back piece neckline together. For the front, I used 3 inches width by 4 inches depth, and for the back I used 3 inches width by 2 inches depth. So I'll be marking those, and when I'm cutting, I'll cut the back piece first, separate it from the front piece, and then cut the front piece neckline after. Now I'm marking my shoulder measurement all the way down to the M line. This is the shoulder measurement plus the the 1 inch seam allowance, and I indicated the 2 inches M allowance that I had there. At the shoulder now, I made a shoulder slant of 3/4 instead of the regular 1 inch, since it was not a complete shoulder measurement. After marking that, I'm connecting it to the neckline, and then I'll cut the fabric. While cutting the fabric, I'm cutting the back neckline first, and I'll separate the pieces, and then I'll cut the front neckline. Do not forget to separate your pieces before cutting the front neckline. And now for the tie strings or straps, I'm cutting 30 inches long and 2 inches wide fabric because I'll be folding the 2 inches into two to close up at the edge and then turn them inside out later. And I'll be cutting 4 pieces of this because I need 4 strings, 2 for the front and 2 for the back. Now I'm placing the right sides of both the front and the back pieces together, and I'll be using a pin to hold it down at the shoulder point so I can stitch them close. Yes, and after stitching them close, I'm going to hem all the edges round using the double fold method. That means I'm folding the fabric twice and top stitching. Now that I'm done hemming the fabric, all the edges of this fabric, I'm going back to the neckline, and I'm going to use a bias tape to turn the neckline and give it a nice finish. Here I'm showing you how I make sure the edges are overlapped so that it doesn't loosen up later, and then I'll fold this to the other side, that is to the wrong side, and now top stitch on the right side of the fabric. When stitching the bias from the beginning, it has to be on the right side, and so that when you flip it over, you will now top stitch on the right side also. For the tie strings, I folded it into two and I stitched it on one side, and I used the pen to turn it inside out. If you have a loop turner, you can use it, but I don't have one, so I use the pen instead, and it works just fine. To know the right placement of the tie strings, I measured my vertical waist measurement from my shoulder and I marked that point down on both sides, left and right, front and back. And then you attach the string to the fabric. I attached it first right side to right side, then flipped it over and top stitched again to secure it. So guys, that is the end of the tutorial. You can see it is so simple, easy, and like it's straightforward, something you can always do in about 30 minutes and you'll be done. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.